Do you need to teach 2 and 3-year-olds dance and movement in a classroom? Well, this video could be for you. I'm going to share with you 3 proven hacks that my team and I use every single day to keep our kids engaged. We work with thousands of kids every single term, and we've coached thousands of teachers on how to lead a dance and movement class successfully in the classroom. So stick around and let's see if we can get your dance and movement sessions for 2 and 3-year-olds joyful, easy, and fun. Okay, so let's talk about engagement. Now, the first thing we have to remember with 2 and 3-year-olds is language needs to be super simple, and also the language that we use needs to relate to the movement almost immediately. They need to have a picture in their head straight away. So let's talk about language versus movement. So the language that I'm going to use with 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds is stuff that they would probably know about. I'm going to talk about food, I'm going to talk about basic colors, and I'm going to talk about animals. Now, how I get them into the movement is pretty easy. Let's just say we need to do a warm-up exercise. I'm going to say, I'm reaching up to grab some apples from the tree or bananas from the tree. I'm using things that they already know about. And then might talk to them about the color of the apples. I might talk to them about the color of the tree. So it becomes a holistic conversation as well. When I then go into movement, I'm going to talk about things that they can actually already picture that are already moving, like kangaroos jumping, or flamingos standing on one leg. Or if I want them to go nice and tall, I'm going to talk about going up onto their tiptoes and becoming giraffes. Okay, let's get them excited now, and let's talk about using props. Now, I can't go on about props enough for 2 and 3-year-olds. Props are fantastic because they make the kids move their bodies in ways that they wouldn't move if they didn't have something to hold on to. And I'm talking about things like ribbons. I'm talking about things like pom-poms where they're shaking. They can make patterns with ribbons, and they can also throw the pom-poms around, and their movement becomes a lot stronger once they've actually got something already in their hand. Now, props are also amazing for things like manners when they're receiving a prop. So they're actually saying thank you. They're also really, really good for patience, waiting your turn to get your prop. Spatial awareness, absolutely fantastic for that. And also, let's talk about not being fussy. So in our classes, it's really, really important that kids don't request colors or request certain props, that they take what they're given and they accept whatever is happening in the classroom at the time. Okay, fantastic. Now let's talk about gamifying some of the dances or some of the movements. Sorry about my writing. 2 games that I'm going to tell you about work every single time with our 2 and 3-year-olds. Now, one is the base challenge, where we have them sitting on their spots or they're in a line, probably against a wall, so they're not seeing anyone on their peripheral and they're focused on a teacher. We will play the music and we will ask them to do a simple request like jumping around like a kangaroo or walking around on their tiptoes like a giraffe. As the music plays, they can move around and do this. They can also do this with the teacher. Once the music stops, then they have to race to get back to their base as quickly as they can. This is super fun with kids, and it's a really easy concept, and they absolutely love the challenge and they're always up for it. It might take a few goes for some of them to pick it up, but it's actually always a winner. The second game that I'll tell you about is beanbags. Putting a beanbag on their head for as long as possible. And the person or the people that keep the beanbag on their head as long as they can are the winners of the game. And you can do several rounds with this. It's really, really fun. And it's also nice to actually have a chat to kids about where their head placement should be in order to keep the beanbag off, which is really hard sometimes if kids have super soft hair and it keeps on sliding off. So get the appropriate size beanbags if you can. Now, these 3 things all together are bound to give you a solid half an hour to 45 minutes of a session. Okay, great. So we're understanding a lot more about how to engage kids in class. But what would be really handy is if we had a nice timing structure so that we don't lose them within each bracket of what we're trying to do. So check out our video on how to time a lesson perfectly and you will be on your way. And don't forget to check out the downloadables in the description. They're completely free. Leave us a comment. Let us know how you went with everything, and we'll see you soon.
Woke up late, shoes on wrong.